In today's video, I'm going to be breaking down Devonte Graham and how he shoots the basketball, his basketball shooting form, and the little tricks that he has with his shot. Let's get down and let's check him out. Okay, so there's actually a very good reason as to why he hit this game-winning shot. Number one, he is traditionally a two-motion shooter anyways. That's number one. If you are drifting forward in your shot a lot, and I don't mean your legs, I mean your whole entire body, then you better be a two-motion shooter. That's going to give you more aim at that rim, more time to aim, and of course, more ways to gauge. So when he pulls up for a shot here, he gets that ball right at his hips, and that is his gather. When he brings that ball up into his set point, we see that he brings it up the middle of his body without bending his elbow, either extending it or, of course, bending. He keeps his elbow at roughly the same degree until he goes up into his set point. At his set point, he is, of course, looking at that rim, and, of course, he is normally a two-motion shooter, so he was able to hold on to this ball a little bit longer than you would expect for a shot, especially at the end of the game. But he had a defender who was on him, and that is why. But it was a natural motion for him anyways. We'll start by focusing up on his release, and then we'll go down into his base. From there, what we see is his middle finger releases. He has no thumb flick, and when he releases, we can see that he has a soft release with his elbow well above his forehead, which will give him a lot of arc. The one downfall to a soft release is the spin on the ball, and here we can see that he gets about one rotation there, two rotations there, and then he gets about halfway to 3/4, maybe a full way around. So about 2.5 to 3 full rotations before it drops in. And that is the minimum. You want to have 2.5 rotations on that ball. The reason why is because when it hits that rim, it will slow its trajectory down so that it doesn't just fly off and bounce off somewhere. You want it to hit that rim soft so it has a chance to bounce in. Now we see this a lot. With a two-motion shot, we do see Devonte Graham here a lot. His whole body tends to float forward, and when he goes to release that ball, when he's actually releasing it, we can see that it's one frame roughly coming down from his jump. Some really good shooters who are two-motion shooters will actually release the ball on the way back down from hitting that peak. The reason for this is you're actually more balanced coming back down from your shot than you are when you're on your way up or when you're at your peak. However, the downfall of shooting when you're coming back down from your jump for shooting is the fact that you will be decreasing the power on that ball, which could be why that forward jump that we see with Devonte Graham is actually effective for him. Usually you do not want to drift forward in your shot, and we see this here. He drifts quite a bit forward. It's not just his lower body that's swinging, or that sway that you may hear about. A sway will give you more power, but his whole body jumps forward on his shot, and I think that actually helps him with the power to get it to that rim. However, here we can see that when it's a set shot, he gets that pass and he goes up into his shot. We can see that he doesn't bring his whole body forward, but he sways his feet. And that's going to allow him to be able to have that two-motion shot, as we see here, without decreasing the power. That leg sway is very important. But keep in mind, if you've got closeout defenders who like to stick their foot underneath yours, which is a defensive foul, by having that massive sway, you may be getting hurt a little bit more with rolled ankles or broken ankles, things like that. So don't sway too much, but still have a sway to have the power. Now let's really look at the base. We can see here that when he catches it from that right side, he pivots in with his right foot, which will allow him to get his right side in line. We can see that his shoulders are over his knees and generally over his toes as well. when he does catch that ball, he doesn't exactly have all that much of a dip. He has maybe a 2 or 3 inch dip before he brings it back up into his set point. When he brings it up into a set point, we can see that he engages his lower back, and he's also engaging his Achilles, which is the springy part to your jump. And the power to your jump is coming from his calves as well as his quads. And we can see that he extends fully. His body is basically a pencil at this point. He sways his legs forward when he goes to release that ball. That's going to give him the power on a 2-motion jump shot. And then when he does turn into his shot, we can see, and he turns a lot when it comes to shooting. He actually squares up pretty close to squaring up with his elbow out, and then when he's in the air, he actually turns his body so that his shoulder and elbow are in line with the rim. That's actually very important because you really want to have this in line, and generally at least half the basketball over top of your upper arm or shoulder or elbow. And from there, with that release, we can see that of course he makes that shot, but it is extremely important to get that in line. Normally you do not want to be squared up and then tilting in the air. You generally want to be tilted while you're on the ground and then go straight up. Again, everyone's shot is different. Everyone finds a different way of shooting. He has a very high shooting percentage. So altogether, it's still a good way to shoot, but there could be simpler ways of shooting and that could give you even more power. Generally, 2-motion shooters don't have that great of range. 1-motion shooters like Curry, Trae Young, a whole bunch of them are 1-motion shooters who are extremely good. They get the range. Damian Lillard is another one, while 2-motion shooters are generally right at that 3-point line because of 2-motion decreases your power. I hope that you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys again next time.